I did, friend.
Friend. A friend.
A friendo.
No, it's more like speak friend and enter.
Oh, melon. Welcome to Curiosity Public. My name is Dutch.
My name is Jules.
Dylan.
And welcome to yet another episode of our Ultimate Spirits Competition, our quest to review every sipping spirit on the face of the planet and subject it to our crazy hard 100-point scoring system. And in this episode, it's time for winter. I mean, it's winter time, and we're drinking the Midwinter's Night Dram. Batch 5. Sorry, Batch 9. 9. What is this called? Act 9.
Sorry. Oh, Act 9.
Wow.
Act 9.
This is...
Can we redo that? Can we redo that whole thing? Yeah, Midwinter Night Dram, which is a blend of straight rye whiskeys. This is Act 9, Scene 2, coming at us at 49.3% alcohol. Let's take a look at this bottle.
Midwinter.
What a beautiful, really just awesome labeling. And look at that, like there's a glitter in the bottle, in the glass.
A sheen.
And on the back, we've got lines from Shakespeare, and we've got a nice description of what's going on.
Shakespeare.
And I believe this is a mix of sourced rye as well as actually stuff that's distilled by High West. So this is a High West product. And it is kind of their once a year special release. Comes out in the wintertime. It's got a great name. I love that whole concept of like, what's your winter whiskey? You know, I used to work with somebody and he had a winter beer. He would drink Budweiser in the wintertime.
Whoa.
He would switch from like, you know, whatever is Coors Light during the summer to, you know, something else during the winter. I like that idea of like a winter whiskey. What do you guys think?
You told the exact same story.
Did I really? We got to roll the tape and see if that's true because I don't even remember, but... There's no way I told the exact same story.
No, I heard.
Now let's go back to the tapes.
You said, yeah, there's a guy who likes the winter beer and switches to whatever. And
I think last
and then
time
you mentioned something about like...
It was Corona during the summer.
No.
That's Dylan, dude. Dylan drinks Corona year-round.
No, he's mentioned like something about Coors Light or something. Like, I don't know.
I've told the Coors Light story when we were talking about St. Patty's Day. Because it.
Oh, right, that's the other one, yeah.
Okay, so anyway, who knows? Anyway, this is a finished rye. So they finish it in French oak port barrels, and it's a limited engagement. It says it on the bottle. So it's a limited edition.
Right.
Gets a lot of hype. Price point, $100.
$99.99.
What did we get the bottle for?
$99.99.
So
Well, I got a coupon.
With the coupon. I'm going to get us poured. Dylan, what else you got?
That's it. Essentially, it's a yearly release. It's finished in ruby and tawny port barrels for 1 to 2 years.
Tawny.
You know, this year's release, I guess, I don't know, the master distiller kind of explains what we should be getting in terms of the flavor profile, but I'm not going to talk about that.
Did I do that? Oh my gosh, I spilled so much.
I gotta say, yeah, jeez.
That's a big spill. See that line of spillage?
The sticker.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I gotta say, you can get this very easily every year.
On the West Coast.
On the West.
Yeah, and then
I know some people say it's impossible. I've usually been able to find a bottle until this year.
Yeah, I think this year, it was the worst because last year I just went into a store and they had like a bunch of them.
Sitting on the shelf.
There's one. I got one.
Same for me. Every year up until now, it's always been that way. And then you told me you found one. I was like, okay, I'm going to stop searching.
Right.
But it used to be pretty easy.
No, this year I ordered it from 2 different places and then it got canceled. And I got so mad, I got in my car and started driving and just went from one place to the other because I was livid. And I got it.
Right on. Well, we actually have the last year's bottle here as well. This is Act 8. And if you're a member of Curiosity Private, our membership program here on YouTube, or a member of our Patreon,
Whoa.
you will be able to see our head-to-head comparison of this. So consider joining. All right, guys.
Soon.
Let's get tasting.
So since Dutch gave that same story, I'll give my same story.
Same story.
Port is my kryptonite.
Oh, that's right. Port makes you vomit.
Port makes me vomit.
Let's see if Dylan vomits.
Man.
Oh, I think you will just on the nose.
There are parts of me still on Melrose.
Bits of lung. Mm-hmm. I mean, the color is fantastic on this. That just looks amazing. Deep, rich amber color.
Yeah, look at that.
Really nice legs as well. Actually, a little thin.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe the skull represents as soon as you're born, you start to die.
What the heck is that from?
What movie?
Give me a hint. Give me another line from it.
Okay. Ding! Happy New Year!
That's not gonna.
I know it's not gonna help, but it's one of my favorite quotes. What's your favorite Shakespeare story or play?
I love Hamlet. I also really enjoyed King Lear, but Hamlet, man.
I really enjoyed Renaissance Man, which is not by Shakespeare, but it references a lot of Shakespeare.
I was gonna say the same thing. You know, my favorite my favorite quote from that was when Danny DeVito's coming down and he goes, "Happy New Year."
The ball is dropped.
Yeah, I mean that's an underrated movie,
Totally
right?
underrated.
Yeah, I love it though.
All right, we've had some time to taste. We've all scored it. We haven't discussed our scores. We haven't revealed our scores to each other. We're going to do that right now. But actually, we're not going to do it right now. We're going to do it right after Jules tells everybody at home about our scoring system in less than 10 seconds.
We do have a 100-point grade system across 10 categories, so 10 points each. That include aroma, flavor, body, complexity, balance, finish, uniqueness, drinkability, aesthetics, and value. However, for flavor, we weigh it twice at 20 points. Aesthetics value, half at 5 points each. You can medal in our competition if you score 60 and up, from bronze, silver, gold to diamond.
Close, actually. Well done. Well done, Jules. I wasn't listening, so I don't know if you said it right. I was like busy counting.
Is Dutch constipated or something? What's he doing over there?
Farting up a storm.
Usually.
Christmas.
Wow. Dutch's Christmas farts are no better than my summer farts. But.
Like I said, Happy New Year.
Okay, guys, let's get our initial scores.
Watch the balls, man.
What's the oh? That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay, initial score time. Before we've had a chance to discuss it, this could change. I gave this a 76.
Oh, 68.
72.
Oh, what?
Whoa.
Really?
Wow.
I would have thought, yeah.
I'm a little shocked. I really want to talk through this.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a decent score on our competition, though, man.
A 68, no. I'm sorry. Not for
That's
this.
a bronze.
For $100 whiskey, it's not a decent score.
Oh, so
Yeah,
we're
for
going by
$100.
how much you're paying instead of what's inside?
Well, let's kick off the discussion with...
Dang, it's like Bizarro.
I know what's going
I know.
on.
Let's kick off the discussion with aroma. Out of 10 points, I really like the aroma. Let's give it an 8.
Oh.
That was the best part.
What'd you give it?
I give it a 7.
Like, I really love this.
Right.
I give it an 8.
What'd you give it?
No, I liked it. 9. I give it a 9.
I could be talked up. Talk me up. I mean, I get the rye component. I get the port. I get some cherry.
I'll tell you why.
I like the palate better than the
I told you,
nose,
I
though.
started with wine, right? I started with wine in my life. And I felt like this was an exercise in wine tasting right at the
it
beginning.
smells like a wine.
Yeah.
And that was my problem. That's why I couldn't go any
No,
higher
but
than
you know what it was? You get a lot
It
of...
smells like a watered down.
No, but it backs it up with a lot of the grape skin, the plum. I love the stew. You know, you think about wintertime and you think about stews and jams, your preserves, you're like, you know, preserving food and all this kind of stuff. This is what I get. I get like the aroma of compote. I think you guys are knocking it down just like...
It's too wine. It just reminds me too much of like any of those bourbons that are finished in Cabernet.
No, it's not like that at all.
It just has a hint of that. It just has a hint of that.
I thought the execution was actually, it exceeded my expectations. That's why I think I gave it a 9. Because I thought
liked it. I mean, I give it an 8. I think Jules is a bit low. I mean, I'm with you. I think it's good. It was too much
lacking.
wine.
It was exactly
Too much port.
It's too much wine, and it was watered down wine, like I said earlier, from the aroma point of view.
No way.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I'm with you.
No. It got the right amount of sweetness. It has the grape.
It's okay.
It has the stew. I will admit it's probably less molasses in terms of the sugar.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
none.
like the white grape.
Yeah.
A lot of that kind of
The wine components.
It's all great.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to flavor, our biggest category out of 20. I gave this a 17.
16.
I give it a 16.
I probably started out there, but then as I was tasting it, I'm like, you know what? It's not traditional whiskey flavors, but there's a lot of really good flavors coming through here. There's a very bright, distinct cherry. There's a bright fruit component, and then there's that rye. There is that rye essence underneath it all, and I had to bump it up a little bit for that. I think it's actually a really nice palate.
So it's pleasant. I give it a 16. I thought a lot of that fruity component, like sugar plum, was the one thing that kept coming to my mind on the front end of the palate.
great.
But I wasn't getting it in the palate more as the finish, and we'll get to that later. But it felt kind of weak.
I don't know, man. There are very distinct flavors here, and I think you guys are discrediting it based on the finish and maybe some of the other categories, but the actual flavors that are here, I think, are quite good.
I think the flavors are good. The way I analyze this flavor is I took away the bottle, I stripped away the hype, I got rid of the name.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, in my mind, it's a rye finished in port. Okay? We have bourbon finished in port. We have quite a few, right? And we know what that tastes like and what kind of flavor profile that provides. So is the rye port that much superior in terms of price and hype compared to the bourbon?
What's the execution, though? How well is it done? I think it's actually done pretty well.
I think the other ones are just as good. And I think those also fall at this point. I think the issue is...
I give it to you with like the Angel's Envy. The Angel's Envy rye.
See, when I think of that, that's Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily thinking of Christmas here. That's the
But
problem.
if you've never had that
from
before,
a flavor point of view.
I think we're arguing about 1 point here. We're not that far off.
Yeah,
I think we're kind of in the same ballpark in that I expect more too.
I expect more. It can't go up to
getting
17,
on the
18.
palate. I wasn't getting on the palate.
It's good, but there's nothing that says, wow, this is so unique amongst the
Or
offerings.
it doesn't really say, wow, this is $100 rye.
Right.
Yes.
Well, but that's value. But I'm talking about like
I know.
the flavor
Yeah.
profile.
Flavor
The flavor profile is you get the rye, you get the sweetness, you get the grape, you get the port flavors. Okay, and it just basically like paint by numbers, to a degree, and it's not bad.
Yeah.
But it just can't rise above that. There's nothing that says, oh wow, this is like something like coming out of nowhere and providing us with some unique offering.
I think part of the problem is like I don't know what was really helping it. Like the finish, right? So
Well, let's not talk
or
about
not
finish.
the finish, but like in the different because it's
finishing.
the finishing. Yeah, the
Finishing
two
it in
different
port,
barrels. Yeah.
No, I get the port.
I
get
think
the
the
port.
port. I think the port does.
I agree. I like it. I like a lot of these flavors. I just don't. It doesn't know.
It's not doing enough.
What I don't like is that
Not doing enough.
it does most of the heavy lifting though. Like
port.
that port.
Yeah.
The port, yeah.
The rye's like an afterthought.
Yeah, because if I've tasted this before, and and I vomited a lot of it.
You didn't vomit now?
It's like the
That's
port that
saying
I drink. It's some of the cognac flavors too.
Yeah.
You know what you get.
It's in there.
Yeah. So.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to body. I thought the body was kind of weak. I give it a 6.
6. Me too.
Better than
a 7.
average, but it was okay.
I gave it a 7.
No.
I mean,
It's a little
nitpicking.
thin on the palate.
Very thin, actually,
I don't know
dude.
about that.
I mean, it's.
Yeah, I'm not getting any. It's not. The viscosity is really weak.
No, I think the
Mouthfeel?
port. I think the port really helps
Yeah.
in terms of the mouthfeel. I think
That's the finish.
The finish, yeah, I don't know. The body tastes just a little weak.
I don't know. I could be convinced to go down, but
You're not that far off.
I'm gonna keep.
So we're at 6, 7. Okay, let's move on to complexity. I started an 8, but I ended up at a 7. There's a lot of flavors here, but they're just kind of here.
Yeah.
Very easy to put in a box.
Yeah, and that's why I give it a 6.
I gave it a 7. It's basically. I agree with you.
It's good, not great.
Right.
is how I would put
The
it.
core is the port and the grape, right? It's the port flavors
That's
and grape,
it, guys.
And then there's just a tiny bit of the rye, and that's why I
but
was
on
like,
the finish,
which is inconsistent to a degree.
yeah, exactly.
And so
well,
beyond that, though,
it's just like an afterthought. It's like somebody's like, okay, here's a bunch of really good port flavors. Oh wait, let's throw a little bit of rye in there, and that's why I was like, it doesn't.
yeah, it didn't
I
incorporate.
don't know. It doesn't really
You didn't embrace it.
work.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I always wonder if you're a big port person, like, would you actually like this?
I think so. If you like really sweet things, I think you'd actually really like this. I think you would.
Brings enough of the rye spice.
There's a little bit of that rye spice, and there's a lot of good sweetness. I mean, I think if you tend towards that sweet profile, this may be your jam. And
But it is skewed, right?
It is
That's
skewed.
why the complexity can't score very high.
well, let's move on to the next category, balance, which is I almost thought exactly the same thing about this as I did about complexity. I gave it also a 7.
I give it a 7.
I give it also a 6.
At least you're consistent. I mean, I see that as well. But what I think for what is here, again, it's not off balance, but it hasn't excelled in this category.
Right.
And I think that's why I ended up at a 7.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely port and grape forward. And unfortunately, because it skews so much in that direction, the presentation is okay, but I think it loses a lot of the.
I think the presentation is good.
I
just
feel
don't
like
think
it
it's
buries the rye. It buries the rye, and
I
come
think,
back to what I said.
Dutch
It's
said
the
it
afterthought.
best. It's the afterthought.
Yeah, rye
You said
feels
it
like an
best.
afterthought with this. Yeah. So it's almost like this is for you if you like a sweet whiskey, but you don't really like rye.
Rye,
Then
yeah.
try this rye that has
It won't. Yeah.
some sweetness added to it. It's like seagrass, except less sweet in a lot of ways. Okay, moving on to the finish. I knocked this down. I started at a 7. I ended up at a 6. I just thought the finish faded way too quick for me. I liked some of these flavors, but they didn't hang around long enough.
This is where I enjoyed it. I give it an 8.
Dylan?
I split 7.
Oh,
Okay, so we have the whole full spread here.
Because this is where for me like the rye stood out. Like on the finish, like now I'm getting a lot of that spice.
No, to me the finish was the last third of the palate was the rye. The finish was just the grape again.
It was port.
Port.
It's a port finish.
That's why I'm surprised you're higher than I am.
It's port finish,
me
yeah.
too. That
No,
is
I mean,
surprising.
I gotta.
But it's thin. It's really thin. It's just that
It is
one-dimensional, like a light grape thing.
But it's like I finally got the rice spice that I thought I was gonna get in the palate.
I don't know.
Yeah,
how
like
you got
grape,
that,
the port flavors, all of that, and then it just kind of it gets stripped away, and then it's just like the port.
yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't work for me, but let's move on to uniqueness. Despite all this, and taking into account the annual release, the fact that it's a rye finished in port, this bottling, this labeling, all this 8. Quite unique.
I give it a 6.
Yeah, I give it a 6.
What?
Yeah, it's going.
What
it's
other
going
bottles have Shakespeare on the label?
Which is fine, but then the
That's
dram
paper.
inside.
That's paper. Wow, this is bizarre.
This is Bizarre World.
Bizarre
Because I
World.
would usually argue for that, but no.
Like, there's no way. There's no way if you had this blind with other rye finished in port. Get Angel's Envy port.
I know that's a done deal, dude.
Get
It's gonna
Angel's
be
Envy
easy.
port.
Yeah,
and
that's
compare
why
it.
this isn't a 9 or a 10, but it's still an 8 of the finished ports I've had. Sorry, of the finished ryes I've had. This one's
No,
pretty good.
the problem is it's unique
Hang
on
on.
paper,
No,
not
stop,
in
stop, stop.
execution.
You guys have had the other High West double rye finishes. This is way better than those, and it is more unique than those. Finishing rye and making it taste like this is not easy business.
Yeah.
This does stand out from the pack.
All right.
That's
All
a
right.
good point. That's a good point.
I'll go up. I'll go up.
Yeah.
You're right. I give it a 7.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on.
But
to,
for our members, we should just compare the Angel's Envy rye.
maybe
It won't
we'll,
compare, dude.
It won't.
It won't
That will blow
compare.
it away.
That's gonna blow it. Yeah.
But maybe we'll grab that as well. Okay, guys, let's move on to drinkability. Despite all this, it's very drinkable. There's no harshness to it. I give it a 8.
I give it a 6.
I could keep sipping
I just
on this,
lost
man. I
interest.
really could.
I just lost interest.
I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
I gave it a 7.
I don't know. I really think it's drinkable. Like
It is.
And partly
it's
it's-
lost interest though. It's like
part of the reason is because of the way the finish hit me. It was like it was just this light sweetness, and it kind of made me like, oh, that was kind of nice. Like I kind of want to go in for another sip now. Like, and I get that aroma, and I get that initial palate hit. There's something in like
What's
from
keeping
the
you?
first third to the last third on the palate that isn't great, but everything else keeps like the beginning and the end are really good, and it kind of makes me want to keep going in for another sip. So thinking of it in just as far as the fact that I wanted to keep sipping it as I was tasting it, even though I wasn't really blown away by anything, I had to give it extra points for drinkability for that.
I get it. It's not that interesting, man.
Take another sip. Think about the beginning of the palate and the end of the palate. Like, I don't know, man.
And I love the ending more.
It's intriguing. But doesn't that make you want to take another sip?
Not really, because of what's happening in the beginning and the mid.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I will admit,
I really do think it's quite drinkable.
I think the 7. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of go full disclosure. I have several bottles of this open at home. I don't really touch it after.
I know what you're saying.
I've never seen you, Dutch, like have this.
But that's why, again, I think it's an 8. If this was open at a party and we're sipping on it, we'd kill the bottle easily. It's very drinkable. But that doesn't mean it's not a 9 or a 10, because if I look at the shelf over here, I'm not necessarily going to grab it. Right. To me, that ranks as
that's why I gave it a 7. I felt like,
I understand.
I agree with you.
I
Like
think
if we were sitting down and
we'd easily kill this.
Yeah, we'd finish it.
Jules, you got to admit that.
No, I'm going for that Angel's Envy instead.
This tracks, though. This tracks. Jules be the point alert. All right, guys, let's move on to aesthetics. Out of 5 points, I have no complaints over this bottle. It's a 5.
That's where I give it a 4.
I give it a 4.
This is a beautiful bottle.
Wow, really?
I give it a 4.
Look at this. There's Shakespeare on it. Look at this.
I
Look
know,
at that.
it's
What
the
is
same
that?
argument you
Don't
gave
you
me
want to
last
stare at
year.
this? No, you want to stare at this and like analyze it, dude. This is full marks. Look at that. What is that? It's like a bird carrying a word
Can't
strip.
even describe
And like, look at all this. There's Shakespeare, dude.
It's a lot of
Shakespeare on the label.
It's a lot of
All right, fine.
labeling.
I'll give it a 5. I'll give it a 5. You know why? I love this, like the Starry Night.
The name.
I love the Starry Night.
Starry Night is
Look at the
nice.
glass.
I love the Starry Night. In fact, it caught my eye when it was down here, like this morning.
A Midwinter's
like, wow.
Night Dram.
Yeah.
Just say it, Jules.
Midwinter's Night.
Dang, Dutch is PR. Or
I know.
just like,
Are you getting paid?
High West is slipping me hundreds.
jeez,
Hamilton's 10s.
dollars.
Really? You're gonna? I'm shocked that Jules is at a 4 on this. Actually,
Dutch gets tens of dollars.
I get dollars. Okay, guys, moving on to value. I struggled a little bit with this. I ended up at a 4, but I could be talked down.
I think that's too high. I give it a 3.
I give it a 2.
I'm tempted to go that
Sorry.
So explain to me why at $99 for this finished rye I should go down.
Secondary
what you're
markets,
getting.
Availability.
At $100, should I go down?
$100. This is not.
You're not getting it at
$100.
100.
I'm
No,
sorry.
but hang on. If you
Rye
spend
finished in port.
if you spend $100 on this, you're not gonna feel let down. I wouldn't. I'm not blown away, but I'm not gonna feel like,
know,
oh my
man.
god, I got ripped off. No, not at 100.
To be honest with you, if we weren't coming on the show, I would not get this. I would
And you
not
have how many
spend
bottles at
$100.
home and you're not grabbing it?
I would not spend $100. I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't
with
spend
you.
$100 on this. I'd buy another
what's
Remus.
inside.
I'd buy another Remus.
It's not a rye.
I don't care. No, I'd buy something else.
You know, you're right.
I'd buy Angel's Envy rye.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
needed something.
It's cheaper too.
I just get a Woodford rye, not finished in anything.
No, the Angel's Envy at
Angel's Envy.
$80, $85. That's got me. You're right. It's a 3.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. It hurts me every time I have to buy this, even at retail, like 99 bucks.
too,
I'm like,
me too. You're right.
I look at really, like, I went into the store, and the reason why I scored it this way is because I picked it up at the store. I didn't buy this online or anything like that. And as I was grabbing it, I saw other things on the shelf
You're like, oh, I
that
don't
were
want to grab
cheaper
this.
that I would drink over this.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, dude.
That was the problem. Yeah, and just because it's one-time release every year, there's this huge,
Following
whatever,
for it,
whiskeytube,
Blah, blah,
hype,
blah, blah, blah.
echo chamber, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, no, value's a 2.
All right.
Okay, guys.
Don't care.
Let's get our final tallies. I ended up down 1 point to 75,
69.
74.
which gives us our official Curiosity Public score for Midwinter Night's Dram Batch 9. Sorry, what is it?
No, Act 9.
Act
Scene
9,
2.
Scene
Scene
2. A silver at 72.
Nice.
Maybe not.
That's about right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For $100, I feel like it should be a little bit more. But I also let me caveat this and say that I understand why certain people really like this. I can understand the person that tastes this and thinks, "Wow, that's amazing." Now I would tell that person, "Go try the Angel's Envy rye." But I understand it. I
I
understand
just
why
feel
people.
like it's getting too far from its name. It's not Midwinter Drink, dude.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It
that's part
doesn't
of the
taste like a Christmassy drink. Especially the way that, again, I tell people, go try the Angel's
Angel's
Envy.
Envy. Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, that's Christmas in a bottle. And again, the name is where I get like
Yeah,
frustrated.
this
It's
is
like,
almost like a springtime.
Yeah.
It tastes more like spring to me
Yes.
every time I have it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to crack into batch 8,
Let's
Act
do
8,
it.
and do a comparison. Again, that is for our members of Curiosity Private here on YouTube. Also for our patrons who have joined us on Patreon. You guys get to see cool exclusive content like that. All right, Jules, take us out.
Tell us what you guys think in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up if you like this episode. Subscribe for more videos from Curiosity Public. Hit that bell icon so you get notified of new videos. Be sure to check out our podcast on the major podcast platforms out there. If you want to help the channel out, please consider joining Curiosity Private. It's a membership program here on YouTube. Another great way is to buy t-shirts. We'll have a link in the description for a t-shirt shop. As always, stay safe, stay healthy.
Stay curious.
Listen, the thing is, if you spend $99, you have to like it.
I agree. Yeah,
There's no way.
yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, like, if you spend that much money, there's no way you can tell
But
yourself.
see, here's why
"Oh,
I think why
don't
shouldn't
like
have
my
bought
money."
this.
Yeah.
why I get it though is like people who maybe haven't tried a lot of wine, they haven't tried a lot of port, and they try this and like, whoa, what is that? Like, I understand why there's this segment of people that try this and like, this is the best thing ever.
It's like Angel's Envy.
But
I don't know
Bourbon
if
finished in
that's
port.
like the segment they're going for.
yes, like regular Angel's Envy, which there's
regular.
a lot of people that love that.
Yeah, they're like, whoa,
Babish.
Babish
is like, that's the best bourbon ever.
This is the best. This is the best bourbon. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that. And in fact, I think I was at a wine tasting party, and I finished my wine, and I was like, "Can I get an Angel's Envy neat?" And they're like, "What is that? What are you ordering? I don't understand."
Yeah.
What is that? And then I said, "You want to try?" They tried it, and I'm like, "Whoa, this is so
Yeah,
good.
I never
and
knew
sweet."
bourbon could be that good.
Yeah, it's like, and I go like, "Yeah, okay."
All right.